BIJ TV.
Welcome to the BIJ TV podcast. I'm C. Bryan Jones, and today we're returning to Koredo Muramachi in Nihonbashi for the Nihonbashi Sakura Festival, brought to you by Mitsui Fudosan. But in this episode, we're going beyond the flowers to explore Japanese arts and crafts, including creations made from traditional washi paper, hair ornaments crafted from kimono fabric, and, of course, the ever-popular origami. And there's more to that than you may think. To take us on this creative journey, I'm joined by Giulia Maglio, a concierge at the Nihonbashi Information Center located inside Koredo Muramachi 1. Let's head on in. We're here at Koredo Muramachi, the site of the Nihonbashi Sakura Festival, and I'm joined by Giulia Maglio.
Nice to meet you.
Giulia, it's nice to meet you and great to have some of your time today to talk about the arts and crafts of the Sakura Festival here in Nihonbashi. And at the festival, I know that visitors will get to do origami, cut washi, make accessories, and also view the beautiful illuminations. You're a guide here and you know everything that's happening. And so I'm looking forward to learning about this, starting with origami.
So the interesting part of the workshop we'll be making is that origami is part of the history of Japan. So even foreigners can experience part of this tradition. And of course, it's going to be during the Sakura Festival. So we're going to make beautiful Sakura origami shapes. So it's going to be really nice, interesting. And the paper we're going to use is a very traditional paper too. So the word origami in Japanese comes from ori, which means to fold, so folding, and kami, which means paper. So it's the art of folding paper.
The art of folding paper. It makes perfect sense, right? Origami.
Yes.
So I know that people outside of Japan are quite familiar with origami, but it has a long tradition in Japan. It's maybe often viewed as just a paper craft and something that students do, not necessarily, outside of Japan, maybe not necessarily viewed as a full-fledged art form. And many people may not be aware of the tradition behind it either. And of course, it has both of these. It is a full-fledged art form, and it does have tradition. What can you tell me about that tradition of folding paper or origami?
So the tradition of origami is from the ancient Buddhism. So when the art of making paper was introduced here in Japan in the 6th century, so it's really old.
6th century, wow.
Yeah, so it's a really old art. So at first it was something just related to religion, and then it turned to be an art for everyone. So at the first it was just for the elite. It was just for temples, and then for shrines, and for royal people. So for the emperor and his family. And then it turned to be an art for everyone to enjoy. So that's why origami are so important for Japanese. Unfortunately, abroad, it's seen as something as for kids.
Right.
Because it's just for folding paper. It looks like something for kids to learn. But actually, it's really interesting also for adults because of the history that's behind.
And also there are origami masters who, in the 20th century, and of course now in the 21st, I know, we're creating true pieces of art as origami that are on the same level in terms of artistic pieces as great paintings or great music or any other kind of art form, right?
Yeah, exactly. Probably the most famous origami we have in our mind is the crane. The symbol of Japan, but it turned to be a real art. So now we have lots of books about it, so we can also learn with the instructions. And thanks to these artists, we have more complex origami, even bigger, and not just made by one piece of paper, but with lots of pieces of paper folded together. It can turn to be really like a colorful art.
So for people listening who think, that sounds really interesting, I want to try my hand at origami. At the Nihonbashi Sakura Festival, there will be an opportunity for them to do so. What can you tell me about the origami activities that will be part of the festival this year?
So the origami activity, we do this workshop every day. It usually takes like about half an hour. So of course we will start with simple origami. Of course it's going to be during the Sakura Festival, so we'll be doing some nice flowers and of course sakura. And we'll do it along with our customers. So we'll be doing it together to be able to enjoy it. So it's not going to be only a festival where people can see the sakura, but they can make the sakura.
And in addition to that, there is another craft that people may be a little bit less familiar with, and that is cutting washi.
Yes.
So what is washi?
So washi literally means Japanese paper. So it's a handmade paper, again with a long, long history and tradition. And we also have some workshop where you can make your own washi, your own paper.
So you're actually making the paper itself.
So this is another workshop. We don't have it in our information center, but we have in a shop called Ozu Washi, which is very historical. There, customers, they can make their own washi paper. And here, with the washi already done, they can cut and make some sakura-shaped papers, for example. So we can make, for example, some greeting cards.
So during the festival, it will be actually cutting washi.
Yes, exactly.
So you mentioned sakura flowers as something that you could cut during the festival. In addition to that, what are some common shapes, some common items that you would create when you're doing washi cutting?
Mostly is about flowers. So Japanese are really into natures and natural elements. So usually is flowers, or it depends on the season. So Japanese, they really love to follow seasons. So when it's a spring, everything is going to be about flowers. For example, when it's going to be summer, it's going to be about goldfish. Japanese people, they really love goldfish in summer. So it really depends on the season.
Very nice. So we have origami, we have washi.
Yes.
And then another craft that's going to be part of the festival is making petite accessories. And this is Sakura Tsumami Zaiku.
Yes.
What does Sakura Tsumami Zaiku mean?
So tsumami means to pinch, and zaiku, we can translate it with handmade. So we'll be making this a little hair ornaments with material from a kimono. So with the same material they used to make a kimono or a yukata. So the little petals for the flower will be already cut. So it's easier also for beginners also to be able to make it. And so we will just like putting together these ear ornaments, and of course it's going to be flower.
Is this something that children can do as well as adults, or is it a bit of a complicated process to create the accessories?
So the workshop is actually easy, so even children can enjoy it. So it is for children and adults to enjoy.
So that's a lot of crafting to do inside. Origami, cutting washi, making accessories. And they're all art forms and they're all beautiful. And they capture that feeling of the season, as you said, of sakura. Now outside, there will also be some beautiful illuminations that capture that feeling in sort of a modern way using light. I find these really interesting. What can you tell me about the illuminations?
Yes, so Japanese, they really love to combine tradition and modern art. So along with real sakura trees here in Nihonbashi, we'll be having some beautiful streets full of pink sakura light. For example, in Nakadori, so Nakadori is the street between Corridor 1 and 2. Nakadori will turn completely in pink.
Wow.
So even the pavement will turn to be like a river with all these petals floating on the river.
Okay. Is it like a projection mapping?
It's a projection mapping,
okay.
Yes. And on the buildings, we have some lanterns. Of course, they will have sakura motif. So everything will be pink. This little street leads to Fukutoku Jinja, so the Fukutoku Shrine. And next to the shrine, there's a little garden. And of course, even the garden will be with this pink illumination.
That sounds really beautiful.
It's a good thing for people who want to just take a walk to be able to enjoy the sakura from the morning, so see the real trees, and then until the night, see this beautiful illumination.
Can you tell me anything about the artist that created the illumination?
So the lady who made this illumination is a Japanese called Hasegawa Miki. And she's the same artist. She did the illumination the year before. But of course, this year we have some new project.
I know she created a very beautiful illumination last year.
Yes.
So this year's, I'm sure, is going to be really great. What's the experience like when you're out there? I mean, you've seen it firsthand at night. How did you feel? What is the sensation that you get from this sort of projection mapping of sakura?
It's a peaceful feeling. You can feel really yourself into the tradition of Japan, but with this beautiful project mapping. So you feel yourself into the modern style combined to the tradition and all this sakura. Even if it's projection mapping, it's really beautiful to see. So just to take a walk along these streets and just go to see around the Nihonbashi area is really nice experience.
Well, that sounds like a really wonderful experience. I'm looking forward to seeing that myself when the festival starts, that I can come out here at night. And all the crafts really sound great as well. Is there anything else that you want to share with listeners about the crafting? Anything else about the experience that you think they will enjoy?
Being able to participate this kind of workshops and these experiences, I think it's really interesting for people who love Japan, or even for people who are here for the first time, for example. They can see a little bit more what Japanese culture and tradition is. So it's a good experience for everyone, especially families. All the family can really enjoy this experience. And coming to Japan during the sakura season, during the cherry blossom season, is one of the best moments, I think. Probably even people who lives here since a long time, every year is waiting for the sakura season to come.
Definitely. And one great thing about the Nihonbashi Sakura Festival is that it can be tricky to time a visit or a sakura experience, right? Because it depends on the weather, when the sakura is going to bloom. If you live here, it's not a big deal, right? If you're visiting from abroad, it can be a bit tricky. But a great thing about the festival here is that with the illumination especially, and all the special things with crafting and shops, you can experience it regardless.
Yes, exactly. Also, for example, Japanese, they love to put sakura into their food, or for example, their sake. Yeah. So you can really experience sakura in everything.
How did you know I was doing that?
Whoops.
All right. Well, Giulia, thanks so much for telling me all about the crafts today and the illumination.
Thank you.
I hope people will come out and take part in the festival.
Absolutely.
Giulia Maglio is Nihonbashi International Concierge at the Nihonbashi Information Center. As I mentioned on the last episode, we have a special offer for you as a listener of the podcast. When you visit the Nihonbashi Information Center, please tell them I listened to the podcast to receive a special green tea ticket for a cup of really delicious tea, another Japanese experience that's a must. The offer is available during the period of the Nihonbashi Sakura Festival up until April 9th, 2017, and is limited to one ticket per person. Now, if you'd like to try your hand at the crafts we talked about today, the origami class is available on March 25th and 26th, that's a Saturday and Sunday, from 10:30 to 11. The Japanese Petite Accessories Sakura Tsumami Zaiku class, also on the 25th and 26th, takes place from 2:30 to 3:30 p.m., and the Cutting Washi class runs from 3:30 to 4:30. Each of these three classes costs 500 yen per person, the same for adults and kids, and there are just 8 spots available in each class, so be sure to register early. Registration closes at 5 p.m. the day before, and there's one class for each craft on Saturday and one for each on Sunday. And of course, the classes will be conducted in English. All of the classes take place at the Nihonbashi Information Center in Korero Muromachi 1. It's very easy to get there by train and subway. There are many stations nearby. Mitsukoshi Mae Station on the Ginza and Hanzomon lines will take you directly there, and Nihonbashi Station on the Ginza and Asakusa lines, and Shin Nihonbashi on the JR Sobu line Rapid are also right there in the area. You can get full information on transportation options and more details about the Nihonbashi area by visiting nihonbashi-tokyo.jp/en. That's nihonbashi-tokyo.jp/en. And you can find the Nihonbashi Information Center on Facebook at facebook.com/Nihonbashi Information, or just type Nihonbashi Information Center in the search field and it will come right on up. So enjoy crafting at the festival, and remember that while these classes are on March 25th and 26th, the overall festival runs from mid-March to early April, and you can also do these classes on other days year-round. They do this all the time. So be sure to check it out. And if you want more of our coverage of the business and culture of Japan, check out our website at bij.tv. That's bij.tv, or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/bij.tv, and follow us on Twitter, where our username is, you guessed it, BIJTV. And you can find out more about Custom Media, the producer of BIJTV, at custom-media.com. For BIJTV, I'm C. Bryan Jones. Thanks for listening, and join me again next time as we explore new topics from the world of business in Japan.